Leaning on your naval background, and it's a story that is here, and you would have seen it. The election here in Australia has, for a lot of the past few weeks, been a khaki election, and it's wobbled around between that and cost of living. But we've had a Chinese spy ship in the oceans off Western Australia. What do you make of that presence and you know the perception that this has heightened tension here in this part of the world?
Well, Chinese intelligence gathering ships, as is the case with Russian ones too, kind of oftentimes throughout the world. And what that ship is doing is gathering electronic intelligence, monitoring radars, telecommunications, and the like. And it's also trying to send a message to the Australian public that, hey, we China are here, and you're not that far away. And potentially by shutting us off or denying us our aspirations in the Solomons, you're not immune to the reach of Chinese power. So that's kind of a little tap on the shoulder. So it's as much optical as it is operational in terms of intelligence. Now, the American media, one of the things they don't pay attention to, and the American public doesn't pay attention to, and I say this is, so you all know that I'm a huge fan of all things Australia, and I love it down there. Is that we don't pay enough attention to what's going on in the Solomons and Australia's security interests. Australia and New Zealand are our own, are some of our biggest, closest friends in the region and most important defense partners. And what's going on in the Solomons and Australia's position there has enormous ramifications, and not only for Australia, but for the West and any containment or deterrent strategy with regard to China. And I think the American public needs to be far more focused on that.
Well, the administration certainly are when it comes to the pivotal nature of this part of the world for the US, and it has been that way for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Back to this whole business of the Solomons. I mean, once you let the Chinese, it's kind of the old Arab proverb about the camel with his nose under the tent. Once you let them in there, they're going to establish a police force, and it's going to be ever more difficult politically and diplomatically to kick them out. So the cost to Australia to kicking them out is at its lowest now. And so if you're going to have a confrontation over that, in the name of goodness, do it now before they're really entrenched and it becomes more politically and more militarily difficult to expunge them. But that does pose a long-term threat to Australian security as well as other allied nations in the region.
Absolutely. Always enjoy your input, John, and you're a very talented man. I know we've discussed your winemaking. I've got to get a taste of that Chardonnay one day. We'll chat soon, eh?
You bet.